All right, well, today we're taking a deep dive into Elena Garro's Recollections of Things to Come.
Ah, Recollections.
And this one, I think it's going to be a really interesting one for anyone who's, already a fan of magical realism.
Yeah.
But I think even beyond that,
Yeah.
this book really stands out because of the way Garro tackles these, like, big ideas, memory,
Right.
fate, history. And she does it all
Yeah.
through the eyes of, get this, the entire town.
The whole town.
It's
really
the whole town. I know.
It's such an interesting concept.
So like how does how does she even pull that off, right? Like using the town as the narrator, as the voice. How does that work?
Right. Well, she's so masterful with it,
Yeah.
She uses this collective voice, almost, you could almost think of it like a Greek chorus in a way.
Okay.
But it's exploring these themes
Yeah.
of shared destiny and memory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the town itself becomes this character,
Yeah.
It's holding on to every whisper, every secret, every
Right.
shared experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not just observing things. It's actively shaping the narrative as we go.
Yeah, I'm picturing it kind of like a tapestry, right?
Yeah.
Where all these memories, good and bad, from, all the different people in the town
Totally.
are all kind of woven together. To tell this one story. But so it's not like an all-knowing narrator then.
Oh, no at all.
It's different.
It's different.
How so?
Well, it's more like we're dipping into this stream of consciousness that
Okay.
belongs to the town itself.
Right.
So, think about that scene, the pivotal scene when the general arrives.
Okay.
And there's that shift in power, and
Yeah.
you can feel all the anxieties, all the hopes, everything's just swirling through everyone in the town.
Yeah, yeah,
And we're not getting a single perspective on that.
yeah. Okay.
We're getting this chorus of voices, of doubts, premonitions even.
I could see how that would work.
Yeah, and Gary uses this so masterfully to give us this sense of foreboding. It's almost like the town itself knows what's coming, even if the characters don't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got that, like, that intimate feeling.
Yeah.
But also, like, that epic scope at the same time.
Yeah.
'Cause you're talking about a whole town.
Exactly. And then on top of all of that,
Yeah.
you layer in the magical realism.
Right. It's not just historical fiction, right? Like, the supernatural is just...
It's just woven right in.
Yeah, it's just there.
Like it's just part of everyday life.
Yeah, like it's normal.
Yeah.
But okay, so there's a purpose to that, though, right? It's not just
Absolutely.
like a whimsical thing.
Yeah.
that she threw up.
No, it's very deliberate,
Okay.
and it serves this really powerful purpose. Think about that scene with Julia when she's heartbroken.
Okay.
And she seeks solace in the walls of her home.
Yeah.
And the walls are whispering to her.
Right.
Garrow uses that magical realism to portray the
Yeah.
fluidity of memory. How grief can distort how we see reality, how we see what's real and what's not. It highlights that memory isn't always linear
Right.
or even reliable. It's shaped by all these emotions, all these experiences. Does that resonate with you at all?
Oh, totally. I feel like sometimes my memories feel more real than the actual events.
Right.
Like I'm not sure what really happened versus what my memory's telling me.
Exactly. And that's what Garro's doing, I think. She's playing with that uncertainty.
Yeah.
And then I think, this blurring of lines, it also extends to how she portrays power in the town.
Okay.
It's not this black and white good versus evil thing.
Right.
It's
right.
so much more nuanced than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she critiques authoritarian rule through the general, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But she's not letting the town off the hook
Oh,
either.
interesting.
She exposes the complicities, like the internal struggles
Right.
that are happening within this community. Even as the town resents the general,
Yeah.
they're still gossiping, they're whispering, they're fueling in this cycle of fear and control.
Yeah.
It's like this commentary on how power operates, not just from the top down,
Right.
but also within a community.
So it's like everyone's kind of like trapped in this web of power dynamics.
Yeah.
And nobody can really escape.
Yeah, they're all entangled.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all tangled up together.
And that I think brings us to that idea of the weight of history in the book, right? Like this concept that the town remembers everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be a heavy burden to carry, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. And that's where Garro really gets us thinking. She's asking these really deep questions about memory.
Okay.
Like, does remembering empower us or does it imprison us?
Wow.
Does it define who we are?
Yeah.
And think about the town's inability to forget the massacre. That event just haunts every corner of the town.
Right.
And it shapes their present in such a profound way. It's a powerful reminder that the past doesn't just fade away. It lingers, it influences our present, whether we want it to or not.
Right.
And I think, for us, it makes us think about our own memories.
Totally.
Both personal and the ones that we share as communities.
Right.
How do those memories influence who we are today?
Yeah. I mean, it's like this collective trauma
Yeah.
that's shaping their reality, right?
Right.
And making them who they are.
And it makes you think, like, how much power do we really have over our own memories?
Right.
Especially the ones that are painful, the ones that are difficult to face.
Yeah.
Garro, she doesn't give us any easy answers, but she invites us to wrestle with these questions. She reminds us that even though memory can be this source of pain or oppression,
Yeah.
it can also be this powerful tool for resistance, for resilience. It's about acknowledging the past, learning from it,
Right.
and maybe finding a way to kind of reshape our relationship with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we've really gone quite a journey with this deep dive.
We have. It's a dense book.
Yeah, but it's so rich though, right? I mean, we've seen how Garro's using this unique narrative voice.
Right.
This way of blending magical realism and reality and the exploration of power and how history impacts, individuals, but also, entire communities. And I mean, that all just creates this really unforgettable reading experience.
It does. It's a story that stays with you
Yeah.
long after you finish reading it.
Yeah, it's powerful.
And her language.
Yes.
It's so poetic, and the images she creates, they're haunting, they're beautiful.
Yeah, she's an amazing writer.
She is. I mean, Recollections of Things to Come is a masterpiece, and it reminds us that even when things are really tough, even in the face of oppression, the human spirit and the memories that we carry have this power to endure.
Yeah, and that's really what makes this book so powerful, right? I mean, it's not just about, magical events or history. It's about us. It's about how we remember, how we cope, how we survive. And I think this is where things get really interesting. I mean, we've been talking about how this collective memory shapes a town's identity, but what about our own communities? How might understanding this concept, this idea of collective memory, change how we view, our own towns, our own cities, our own histories? That's something I think would be really fascinating to explore further.
Definitely. It's a great question to take with you.
Yeah.